Recording. Okay. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. We didn't hear the recording in progress, but it is started. The volume was down, so we didn't hear it. So I want to thank you all for coming. This is our November 17th, 2025 special meeting for the Board of County Commissioners. It's our 2:00 Commissioners Consent Agenda meeting that we normally have on a Tuesday, but it's on Monday with our County Leaders Conference this week. So I do want to say we have not received any written testimony for anything on today's agenda. And look at Shelley. I'm looking at you. No. Okay, no written testimony on items that were on today's agenda. So I'll ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, that then will take us to our open public forum, and I have one person signed up so far. So Becky Dickerhoff, if you'd like to come down.
Becky Dickerhoff, Spokane City. It is hard to understand the many changes that have been made to the Continuum of Care CFC program that we will face in 2026. The recently released Notice of Funding Opportunity, NOFO, cut funding by half. That will put every Spokane County resident who relies on CFC assistance at risk of returning to homelessness. In our nation, the CFC program is the largest source of federal funding for homelessness assistance, serving over 750,000 people. This includes older adults, people with disabilities, veterans, and families with children. The majority of the CFC funding is allocated to programs that include permanent supportive housing and rapid rehousing. The recent NOFO program changes have limited funding by the CFC on permanent housing to 30%. The concerns are that funding will now be used on less effective programs such as high barrier transitional housing, emergency shelter, or supportive services only projects. The CFC will also be required to align with partisan policies and practices and not on proven programs. Research has shown that providing permanent housing and voluntary services significantly increases the housing results, while using a treatment-first approach shows individuals are less likely to leave homelessness by 88%. Also, the new NOFO was released so late it will also cause funding gaps and delays, increasing participants' eviction risk. The delay will also place many CFCs at risk of running out of money before the grant is approved. I'm here today to ask the county commissioners to enact what is commonly referred to as a 1590 tax. This ordinance, which amended RCW 82.14.530, allows a county legislative authority to impose a sales and use tax not to exceed 0.1% of the selling price in the case of a sales tax or value of the article used in case of a use tax. This will allow the county to create more homes for the unsheltered. At least 60% of that money must be used for the construction of housing and related services. The balance must be used for the operation, delivery, or services related to housing. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have somebody online. So Jared, I'm going to let you pronounce your last name. If you want to unmute, you'll be able to speak for 3 minutes.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Oh,
yes.
wonderful. Thank you.
You will have 3 minutes.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Jared Neuenhouse, and I serve as a senior manager of local government relations at Ziply Fiber, a Northwest-based company dedicated to delivering fast, reliable, and affordable internet service to communities across Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana. Ziply was founded with a clear mission to bring world-class fiber internet to underserved areas, places where residents and businesses have long endured slow speeds, unreliable service, and limited provider options. To date, we've invested over $1 billion in upgrading and expanding our network, bringing fiber connectivity to more than 150 cities and towns across 4 states, many of them experiencing gig speed internet for the very first time. Now we're eager to bring that same transformative service to Spokane County. We've identified multiple areas across the county where we're ready to begin construction. Our engineering work is complete, our crews are mobilized, and the capital investment is in place. However, we're currently at a standstill, awaiting approval of our franchise agreement. We submitted an application on May 5th, 2025, more than 6 months ago, and have yet to receive confirmation that the application is complete or any feedback identifying any deficiencies in our application. Without this agreement, we have no clear path forward to invest millions of dollars in infrastructure that would give Spokane County residents a much-needed choice in internet providers. This agreement is the final step before we can apply for permits and begin building the infrastructure that could serve thousands of homes and businesses. Once approved, we're ready to move swiftly, bringing high-speed fiber internet that supports remote work, online learning, telehealth, and economic growth. We recognize the importance of working hand in hand with local governments, and we're committed to being a responsible, transparent, and community-focused partner. That means clear communication, minimizing disruption during construction, and providing long-term support to the communities that we serve. So today, I respectfully urge your support in advancing the franchise agreement. The sooner we can begin, the sooner Spokane County residents can access the kind of internet service that is no longer a luxury, but a necessity. Thank you so much for your time and for your consideration.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak at our open public forum? Seeing no one else online and no one else in the audience. Third and final call. Seeing no one online and no one in the audience, I will close the open public forum and look to my fellow commissioners.
Madam Chair, I move to approve items 3, 4, and 5, including all sub-items on today's agenda.
Second.
A motion and a second for items number 3, 4, 5, and all sub-items on today's agenda. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all is in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. That will then take us to item number 6A, which is in the matter of considering increasing the tax revenues from 2025 or 2026 in order to discharge the expected expenses and obligations of Spokane County in conjunction with the General Fund, County Road Fund, and Conservation Futures Fund. And I believe Mr. Nation, no. Okay, I thought Mr. Machia was going to be coming up to speak to this.
A bit of review from our last presentation. If you will recall, we were talking about a $425,000 house and what your tax decisions would be on each individual home. If you're at that rate, the assessor has let us know that that's a little bit high. The average home in sorry, I went back to King County for a second. Spokane County is 388.
Okay, and I'm going to just interrupt for a second because I do need to state that this is a continuation of our budget hearings.
Correct.
So which we had, just for the record, this is our 5th and final one. So we had our first one in September 23rd at our 2 o'clock meeting. We had our second one, October 14th at 5:30. Our third one was November 4th at 2 o'clock. Our fourth one was November 7th.
This
Is our fourth one. Today is November 17th. But at the end of our public hearing today, we'll be closing public testimony. Thank you.
So although the average home in Spokane County right now is 388,000, these are based on a 425. We use the same number as last year. So you will see again in the blue is where we currently are, off on the left. Option 1, if you make no changes, the average homeowner will actually see a savings. That's because of the $1.4 billion of new economic development that came online. So there's more properties to share that total 67.1 million of collections. Option 2 is a 1% increase, where the $425,000 home it'd be 75 cents. That is annually at 6 cents a month. And that would bring in an additional 671,000 to the county. If you took the 1% increase and all banked capacity, that's 21 cents a month or 248 annually to a homeowner, bringing in just over $1,065,000. There's also the option to do a road shift, which would be taking the bank capacity of the road fund, but bringing it to the general fund levy. So it's all county residents pay it, not just unincorporated. That would be a $33.50 annually to a household, bringing in a little over 8.1 million. And do you want to do these one at a time? You want me to go over all of them and then you guys just go over all of them right now? So second is the conservation futures levy on the next slide. And it's the same concept again in blue. On the left is what the current homeowner pays, $11 a month. If you do no changes, the average homeowner will save 8 cents a year. If you do 1% increase, the average homeowner pays 2.7 cents a year. And option 3, which includes some bank capacity, will be 13.5 cents a year. And this is a fund that brings in 2.5 million currently. So we're just dealing with smaller numbers. And then the third one is the road levy. And it is currently at 90 cents per thousand, brings in 30.3 million. And the average homeowner, if you make no changes, the average homeowner at 425,000 in valuation would save $5.29 a year. So that's your biggest savings there. This is one a little unusual. We had enough new economic development on the books. If you take the 1% increase, the homeowner will still save $1.58 over the course of a year. And then if you did all of the road fund's bank capacity in the road fund, it's not spread out over all the county, just the road fund. It's a much bigger $89, almost $90 a year, but all of that revenue would also stay in the road fund. When you do the shift, that allows the revenue legally to be spent on anything that general fund can spend the money on. So those are the 3 different revenue sources, levies, that the board will be considering today. Any questions?
Thank you. Okay, so this is a continuation of our public hearing. I don't know, Mr. Mayshow, I see you back there. Was there anything you were going to add to this? Thank you very much. And I heard that you have a very unique tie on today. So I'm going to get you to speak anyway, since you're here.
As Commissioner French drew to my attention, this is the Jerry Garcia tie, and only us more mature people would know that it's the Jerry Garcia tie, but he's off the top of my head. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
I love it. Thank you.
Who's Jerry Garcia? Darn kids.
So this is a continuation of our budget public hearing. So is there anyone who would like to testify at our last budget public hearing? I'm not seeing anyone in the audience. I'm not seeing anyone online, and we do know that the online is working now. So second call for anyone wishing to testify. See no one. Third and final call. Okay, I'm seeing no one online and no one in the audience. I'm going to close the public hearing and look to my fellow commissioners. Oh, Mr. Mayshow.
Madam Chair, may I please remind the board of what I'd like you to consider as you move forward with regard to these increases. We have 3 decisions the board will make this afternoon. Each one deals with whether or not the board will increase the amount of money it collects in 2026 over 2025 in the general fund, the road fund, and conservation futures. I have placed before the Board of County Commissioners 3 separate resolutions with regard to each fund. The first fund will be the general fund, and it's highlighted on the first page in yellow. I've also had my paralegal put a yellow tab on page 2. On page 2, board members, I have highlighted the various options that we advertised for your consideration in conjunction with making a decision on this particular item. For instance, in the general fund resolution on page 2, I have set forth the 3 options that we advertised them and highlighted them in gray. I think the board has those in front of them. And then what the board would do with regard to the general fund is you'd make a motion to go with the first item, the second item, or the third item until the board gets a majority of vote on one of the particular options. Are there any questions from the board on this one? The next one deals with the road fund, and I've addressed it the same way, board members. And the final resolution deals with the conservation futures, and I've addressed it the same way.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Amacio, does this have to be taken in 3 separate motions, or can one motion be taken to cover all 3?
And answer your question, Mr. Vice Chair, I have not prepared a motion to that effect, but I certainly could, and I have a resolution that we could modify very rapidly and have it in front of the board for your execution.
It's okay. No, we don't need to create any additional work. I can do it
Okay.
3 separate motions.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Yep.
Close the public hearing, so I will look to my fellow commissioners.
Madam Chair, I would move that resolution in regards to the general fund in the matter of adopting a resolution increasing the property tax revenue for 2025 from 2025 to 2026 in the order to discharge the expected expenses and obligations of Spokane County in conjunction with the general fund. I move that we take option 1, which is $0 for the general fund, which is a 0% increase in revenue from the previous year. Under this option, unless money is shifted from the road fund, the 1% would be banked.
Second.
I have a motion in a second for the increase in the general fund to be at 0%. Any discussion? Commissioner Walter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to start off by thanking the budget team for we're not quite done with the budget, but we're almost there. And they've just done an amazing job of working with this board to basically see if we can meet the needs of the county and drive down a potential deficit for next year of expenses over revenue. So I just want to appreciate all the work that's been done. We're very close. We're very, very, very close, I think, to being able to balance the budget. And there are sacrifices that are being made to do that. I guess my only concern is next year, and I was going to ask Mr. McMorris if you could just state what my concern is. We did talk a little bit last Monday about a projected deficit for 2027. And could you just state for the record, you know, what we're looking at if we solve for 26, which we're almost there? What are we looking at in 2027?
Jason was working on that slide right before we walked down for December 1st. We're looking at a 17 million.
Okay.
It would have been a 31 had we not solved on this year's 20 million. But so the difference, 14 million reduction based on some of this year's work carrying over into the future. But there is still a $17 million deficit we're looking at in 27.
So that, my only concern that I'm just trying to think about is how do we, I haven't decided if I want to support the 1% or not. I just want to make sure that we're solving for 2027. And would we still have, the capacity to address that? Because this year we've done a lot of work, but with very minimal potential layoffs and cuts to services. But I guess I'm just putting it out there that, I am concerned about 2027 and want to make sure we make good fiscal decisions this year and next year.
I can add a little bit to that. I just also want to thank the budget team. We've come a long ways from having a $15 to $20 million projected deficit at the beginning of the year. And I think we'll pick back up our budget discussion after this hearing. We are quite close to reaching a balanced budget. I am encouraged that as we look out in the longer term projection, going from 31 million projected deficit in 27 down to 17 is a lot of progress, but it's still a pretty daunting hole next year. And or anticipated hole. And when we look at the fact that our county budget is, I believe, over 70% public safety departments, I'm concerned as well for the out years, especially when I would expect that the demands in those areas are likely going to continue to grow. We all know about the public defender caseload standards, which will likely demand more resources in the future. So just thinking about the future options, I sat down with the assessor's office this past week and with the budget office just to try to understand if to what extent the decision this year on a 1% would affect or limit or penalize our revenue raising potential next year. My understanding from speaking with them is it does not. So and Jeff can add anything to my understanding. My understanding, my version of it is that the assessor's office calculates the highest lawful levy amount that we can set in any given year in the general fund. And it compounds with that 1% factor, regardless of what we decide. So if we don't do the 1% this year, that's revenue we're leaving on the table this year, but it does not penalize the county in the future. And so I think we will likely see all choices needing to be on the table next year, given the trends. We will be hopeful that the sales tax is robust in terms of the growth. I personally still have some priorities I'd like to see funded in the 2026 budget, which we'll talk about shortly, but I'm hopeful that we can solve on those in any event. So that's just some additional information that I learned last week.
Madam Chair, could I just clarify? So if the 1% isn't taken this year, which would be about 75 cents annual cost to a average property assessed value, you're saying that capacity still remains for next year. So that's $600,000 or $700,000 worth of revenue we could next year, if we needed to, we could use that to keep our public safety services and other key services.
The 1% is on the maximum allowed. We usually talk about it against what we actually took this year. And so there's a little bit of a gap there. So this year, as Commissioner Jordan said, when we met with the assessor's office, we could actually take about a 1.58% increase over what we collected in 25 to get us up to that maximum capacity. That's the reason the road levy, we're so far below our maximum. That's why you see a shift that's, millions versus hundreds of thousands. So yes, next year you could go up to that maximum. It'd be probably a little bit bigger than 1.58 because we're adding some more bank capacity. The only revenue left on the table, so to speak, would be this year's, not getting the 671,000 today for spending a 26 budget, but you could fill that whole gap next year as part of the decision-making process.
So you don't necessarily double the amount you can raise, but it's higher than this year. You don't know.
Be
the
higher than
exact
this year. They call it tax refunds. Is that the right term, Tessa? So people whose tax position changes for whatever reason, maybe you're now a senior, you somehow qualify for a tax reduction. We're leaving $671,000 on the table, give or take. Most years we have $250,000 to $300,000 worth of reductions if cumulatively across everybody in the county. That dollar amount is subtracted from the 671. So that's why we're at about 350,000 this year
for the bank's capacity.
for the bank capacity.
Okay.
And but you would still get that full amount in the 1% off the maximum, but your bank capacity doesn't go up quite as fast because of the tax rebates. Or somebody just challenges their tax. You know, they say our place isn't worth 600,000 and they win, it's only worth 550. You know, that impacts it, and that's taken off the bank capacity amount.
Great. Thanks. Thanks for researching that. Appreciate that.
It took us a while, but we got there.
Yeah, we went round and round quite a bit before we all understood it. So
Mr. French.
Yeah, don't go away, Jeff. So on our chart here, it says in option 1, the impact to the taxpayer, and it has on an annual basis a negative $2.19.
Which levy are you looking at?
Look at general
General levy. Okay, I'm with you.
general levy, column 1,
Mhm.
option middle impact taxpayers, $2.19 annually. And that is predicated upon a house value of 425,000.
Correct. That'd be your average home that's worth on the assessor's rolls, 425,000. Be some variation. That's an average because we live in different taxing district with some slight variations, but that'd be close.
Okay, thank you. The comments raised by my fellow commissioners, Waldrop and Jordan, I agree with. The budget in 2027 is going to be a challenging budget. And a lot of those challenges are created by the state and by the state Supreme Court. And I think Commissioner Jordan alluded to the change in caseload standards. I think the last estimate we had in terms of the economic impact of that decision alone was going to be about $14 million of additional cost to hire 103 additional attorneys. And that's just in the public defender's office. That doesn't say what we've got to do in the prosecutor's office or the rest of the system. So it's we have some challenges. Most of them are being inflicted upon the county, not being created by the county. And so we respond and we react and we get very creative. We are all still waiting for a economic recovery that will deal with cost of living increases and a variety of other challenges that we currently have. But the one challenge that you will not experience next year is government increasing its cost on you. By supporting option 1, you'll actually see a slight decrease in what you're paying in terms of property tax. And for me, that's the big issue. When I've got households that are suffering, the county should try and do all it can to minimize that impact. And so that's one of the reasons why I'll support option 1. Locally, we are as a county growing. And that's good because what is done is it's provided economic relief to our taxpayers. If we were not growing like many other counties in the state, you wouldn't have the ability to provide savings to your ratepayers. So we will deal with 27 next year. Part of that, I hope, will be the legislature providing greater guidance and opportunities for economic relief. They clearly didn't do that this year. I mean, if it breathed, they taxed it. If it didn't move, they charged it. If they did move, they taxed it again. And so we are, as a state, feeling the impact of that increased tax burden from the state. You will not see it from the county. And for that, I'm grateful to our staff. I'm grateful to the leadership for all of our departments that found opportunities and savings in their budget. And I hope that the board will embrace the motion on the floor and that we will be able to pass some savings on to our ratepayers who are in need of some recognition of the challenges they're facing. So thank you, Madam Chair.
I want to lead off same way. Thank you to our budget staff for the work that has gone into this. There's all the folks that get to come up to the microphone that the public gets to see, but there's a lot of folks behind the scenes that don't necessarily get the FaceTime in front of the camera, but they know who they are, and I want to thank them as well. Want to thank you to all of our department heads and other elected officials that worked so tirely with us. I think certainly in my time here, this is the earliest we've started the budget process, and we were able to make real structural changes to the way that we do business here at the county to allow us to be taking this vote here today. I know one of them, I see a couple here in the audience today who have really taken it to heart to help us tackle that difficult effort in being able to balance this budget without having to utilize this 1%. So thank you very much for that. Also just want to say thank you to the citizens of Spokane County. It's because of that $1.4 billion in new construction that we have additional revenue coming in. It's because of you that we are starting to see sales tax tick up at a slightly higher number. As I think one of our previous budget roundtables, around $5 million more we'll be bringing in the next year as opposed to this year. So thank you for that. When you look at the fact that we're in a state that this year passed $12 billion of new taxes on a variety of different services and individuals and industries. I think this is very telling, sort of the tale of two jurisdictions. When you look at that, we made hard decisions. We worked together. We worked with our departments and our other elected officials. And I think, it's a wonderful thing that we're going to be able to pass on some sort of savings here. Quite frankly, I wish it could be more. I'm sorry it's not. A little bit of foreshadowing. The next two motions, I'm going to see if I can save you a little bit more money. But thank you very much to our staff, to the citizens of Spokane County for everything you do. And we will continue to deliver excellent service efficiently and effectively.
So I won't repeat everything that's been said because I agree with all of it. I will just add that it is because of the department heads, the staff, the budget office, and starting this process back in July, where I think we started talking about that, we had this deficit that we were going to have to overcome. And so I do want to say thank you to all of you for that, because it is truly because of you and the efficiencies and looking at your departments in new ways that is making this happen, that we have a balanced budget at this point. I also want to say that it's because of fiscal conservative nature that we have here at Spokane County, that we did through Standards and Poor's just get confirmation again of our AA plus bond rating. As I go to New York in the first week of December to sell bonds for the county, that is so important. And they really, when we were in those meetings, really looked to the fact that we have a strong financial base. You know, our fund balance is there to cover future needs if we need them, that we are looking at everything we can do to be efficient. We're looking at, you know, driving our economy, and our economy is growing. We see that with the new construction. And so those are all the things that they take into account. And so it is so important to make sure that we're doing everything we can as commissioners to make sure we keep that. And that way we are now nationally recognized for that with that AA plus bond rating. So I just want to say thank you to everyone up here, because it is part of the commissioners and our departments that really are making that happen. So I will be supporting this. So any other discussion?
I just wanted to, again, I'm pretty proud of the work we did this year. We're almost to the balanced budget. I'm hoping, but I believe we have a few ways to solve for the last couple things we need to solve for this next year. So I'm going to support the motion. I also am proud that we can actually reduce the taxes for next year. And we did it in a way that I think, you know, was very responsible and reducing, would you say the average cost? We reduced our budget by about 7% across the board. And so I do think that next year will be even more challenging, but I'm going to support the motion for 2026 to move forward with no tax increase. Thank you.
Okay, so the motion is second for item number 6A, which is for the general fund for a 0% increase. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously.
Madam Chair, we have another resolution here in the matter of adopting a resolution increasing the tax revenue from 2025 for 2026 in order to discharge the expected expenses and obligations from Spokane County in conjunction with the road fund. I move that we take option 1, which is $0 for the road fund, with a 0% increase in revenue from the previous year. Under this option, the 1% would be banked.
Second.
And a motion is second. Any further discussion? Mr. Walters.
I just wanted to thank the Public Works Department and staff for making sure that we use our road fund dollars as judiciously as possible. And I think you did really good work this year. I'm looking at Kyle out here around acknowledging which things are stormwater related and which things are road maintenance related, and making sure we were actually collecting the appropriate amount of funds to manage both of those issues that we have to, they're interrelated, but they're really two different sets of issues. So I'm pleased to support the motion. I think we have for this next year, we have a good road plan.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously.
Madam Chair, I have one final resolution for this item. This is in the matter of adopting a resolution increasing the tax revenue from 2025 for 2026 in order to discharge the expected expenses and obligations for Spokane County in conjunction with the conservation futures. And I move that we take option 1, which is $0 for the conservation futures, which is a 0% increase in revenue from the previous year.
Second.
Then motion and second for the conservation futures for a 0% increase. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. That will then take us to item number 6B on today's agenda. This is an item that has been continued for discussion only from Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025 at our 2 o'clock meeting. And Mr. Kogan, I believe you're going to speak to this before we make a decision.
Thank you very much, Roy Kogan, Kogan Edwards. As Madam Chair, members of the board, as the chair indicated, this is a continuation of a matter for decision only. On September 23rd, the board considered amending certain matters with respect to Tax Increment District 2005-1. Those matters were to extend the termination date from the end of this calendar year to July 1, 2034. Number 2, to increase the estimated public improvement costs from 20 million to 30 million. And number 3, to add permanent affordable housing as permissible purpose as is authorized by state law. Since that time, and the purpose for all of this is to take advantage of the state LIFT program, Local Infrastructure Financing Tool, where Liberty Lake was awarded a grant of $1 million a year, provided it was matched. So the purpose of this was to match that $1 million to secure the $1 million grant per year. So since September 23rd, Spokane County Library District has adopted a resolution agreeing to all of the amendments and pledging their total 75% increase in assessed value. That amounts to about $5,800 per year. Spokane Fire Protection District has adopted a resolution approving the amendments and committing $300,000 per year. And the City of Liberty Lake has adopted a resolution approving all of the amendments and committing $500,000 a year. Each of those entities has also executed the amended and restated tax increment agreement. Mr. Maceo has original signatures in his possession now. So we're here for decision only. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I will just speak to this because Mr. Kogan and I worked hard on this. So this is definitely, it's a reduction to the county that we're going to be looking at for the future. So that helped our budget.
Yes, last year the county's contribution was $460,000. And if the board goes forward, it would be $200,000.
This is again one of those areas that we were looking at to continue to help improve our economy, but also look at reducing the tax burden on our citizens and bringing those funds into the general fund for some of the needs that we have here at Spokane County. So, so I think this was a really important thing that we worked hard with the fire district and with the city of Liberty Lake, and I'm very excited where we ended up and to be able to move forward to help them be able to help drive the economy here of Liberty Lake, which is in Spokane County. Mr. Finch.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So this is, Spokane County was one of the very first counties in the state to pursue the TIF legislation. Part of that was because Spokane County is one of 7 counties in the state that does not have a port district. And so when you're looking for tools to drive economic development, the only tool available to the county that would make projects like this possible was TIF legislation. And so the leadership of the town was very proactive in establishing the TIF, and we have a developer that has got an incredible success rate with regard to executing on the TIF. And the other thing with this one is that it has a provision for providing low-income housing and affordable housing, and that is something that I know is dear to all of the commissioners on the dais. And so from my standpoint, I'm very happy to approve the extension, the increased funding, and the increased scope. Thank you.
I just want to thank the chair and Roy for the work to work with all those other taxing districts, figure out a plan that makes sense, reduce the county's contribution and also maintain the ability to take advantage of those state dollars. So appreciate the work.
Yes, thank you for all the hard work. And I just wanted to ask a question about the affordable housing piece. So for instance, a developer may, with this new change, I'm asking Mr. French or whoever has the answer. So for instance, if Habitat for Humanity wanted to work with a developer to develop some affordable homes for first-time homeowners, they could potentially apply to use some of the TIF dollars for that purpose. Would that be allowed in the change?
Excuse me. Yes, it would.
Okay.
But the way it works, the housing would have to be owned and managed by a local government or by a nonprofit.
Okay. So a nonprofit, but Habitat is a nonprofit. So, okay. Thank you. I think that's a great change.
Any discussion? Seeing,
So you raised a good point, and I just want to provide a little bit of additional context on that. I think when you look at what was done by the county and developers, including Habitat for Humanity and
Community frameworks.
Community frameworks, thank you. In Airway Heights, that's a great example of how those entities can work together to provide affordable housing and stuff. And so it's basically taking that same model and using it out in Liberty Lake.
okay. I have a motion in a second. Oh, I don't have a motion. I don't have a motion.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes, and I just want to highlight again what a great partnership this is. All the individuals, the entities, the jurisdictions that work together on this to bring this home. And for that, I am going to make a motion. Madam Chair, after considering the public testimony on this matter at the September 23rd, 2025 public hearing to include the testimony of Planning Director Scott Chesney, who addressed the inability at present to develop housing on the north side of the Spokane River within the boundaries of the Liberty Lake TIF and outside the boundaries of the TIF, other than to 10-acre parcels, I move to approve the draft resolution regarding this matter that was in civil clerk, which does the following. 1, extends the Liberty Lake TIF from December 31st, 2025 to July 1st, 2034, consistent with the TIF term. 2, increase the total cost of the public improvements from $20 million to $30 million. 3, expand the definition of public improvements to be made within the boundaries of the Liberty Lake TIF to include permanent affordable housing, together with other public improvements and public improvement costs as authorized by Chapter 38.98 RCW. As amended and as may be amended in the future by the legislature. And 4, provides that Spokane County's annual tax allocation from the tax allocation tax base for the 9-year extended term of the TIF will be $200,000 or such increase or decrease as may be determined on an annual basis as determined on or before January 1st of each year by notice to the Spokane County Treasurer.
Second, I think, could you reread that, please?
One more time.
Which section would you like me to?
No wonder you knew there was an emotion in this second.
Yeah.
Mr. Misha, did you write that?
Don't ruin the illusion, Jim. I rattled that off. That was all,
You
it was
made
all
it
up
all
here.
up.
Yeah.
Only you can do that, so thank you. Okay, we have a motion in the second now. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, that's going to take us to the end of our agenda for today. I think we will be continuing this, not this meeting, we are going to be adjourning this meeting. We will be continuing our meeting from earlier this morning. Our 9 o'clock meeting has been continued to as soon after the 2 o'clock. And we will continue that back in our conference room. So we'll be closing up here and going back to our conference room to finish that, where we will be continuing the discussion on finalizing our budget. As you heard, there's some just minor tweaks that we still need to make, decisions to be made to balance our budget, that will then be approved on December 1st. So thank you all very much for being here, and we will adjourn this meeting and continue the morning meeting in probably, let's say, 5 minutes. Get us back over there at 3 o'clock. Thank you all very much. Okay, welcome back. We are reconvening our November 17, 2025, 9 o'clock strategic planning meeting. It is, we had gone to, it's like 3:04. We are back after our 2 o'clock consent agenda meeting, and we are going to go into executive session right away.
Madam Chair, we have one executive session item. It's 20 minutes pending and potential litigation. There will be no action. like Matt Folsom, Scott Simmons, Jeff McMorris. I don't believe there is Ashley Cloud.
Is she online? I don't think she's.
Ashley Cloud, if she's available, Sharon John Knowles, Tony DeNaro, Chris Anderson, and Dan Gadd. Again, no action, so we would be back at 3:25.
So we're going to go into executive session until 3:25 for the purpose, and that was just stated with the people in the room. And we will be back at 3:25 to continue our meeting. So we are back from our executive session.
Do solutions.
We're back from our executive session. No decisions have been made. We're going to go to Jeff Morris. We're going to Jeff Morris.
Hello, Chair.
Today, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
Have a 3:30 meeting that's going to be delayed, so
We finished it for you then. We're good to go.
there you go.
On the good news front, TESA will add 99,000 to our budget capacity. The state assessment came in and gave us just a little bit more wiggle room on that.
State assessed functions like new construction, so it just kind of adds to our taxes without any decision of the commissioners. It's $99,000.
And then we recommend we start with detention because we think once the big decision is made, then the other things will probably fall into place rather quickly in conflicts. So with detention, as is being brought up on the screen, last week we had it down as closing Geiger A, but buying back, to use our terminology, the EHM program and the others that go with that, as we saw this morning on the slide, as well as the education programs at 174 and 246. Although we saw lower numbers this morning, as I reminded both Scott and I as we came in, hoping to trim more money, we have more money available. We still have to program at this higher amount because we budgeted the expenditure authority level. And then the revenue will come back in on the top side to counter it. But we need that much authority to actually spend.
So because they presented like the allocation amount that's collected by the other agencies, so is that calculated as top line revenue?
On the top line, it would be
It's already-
the intergovernmental.
All right, so is that?
So is that where
That's right.
the board, so as we took out the 937 buyback, we also took out the parks 900,000 part of REIT. We didn't discuss the two positions, but those were kind of the final.
Where we left it.
We left it and those were kind of plug numbers. So we're kind of backing up to that spot on detention. So that would provide you with that one slide this morning that listed the two different sets of services, one with 2 case managers and one with teacher.
So what's the total?
Like 3-4 to do all of that.
Well, I thought it was 268. You're saying that-
368, correct. That's the cost to the county. But we still
Yes.
have to have the expenditure authority for the full cost before we get reimbursed.
The revenue pieces that you saw net on the slides from tech service this morning, the revenue pieces are already contemplated up in revenue. So this is the gross expense amount for these things.
So it is 3810. Gives you those 3 pieces up there.
Yeah, remember that EHM, the 2 caseworkers are embedded in that, right?
Correct. And they do some of the other programming that we saw on the
I
slide.
just wanted to make sure.
We want to have more discussion around this. Do we want to look at the other pieces and come back?
I'd like to put the 3810 in, then we can see what we have.
Can you scroll down a hair, Tessa, to see what?
Ron.
Sorry.
I'm typing Ron's screen. There you go. I have $140,803 right now.
You'll see we did
Correct.
And what was the 900 that you're referring to?
when we thought we had another 900,000-ish hole to plug in detention. You recall, we moved,
okay.
we moved 900,000 of parks operations to REIT just to counteract. Since we don't have that 900 plus hole, you guys can still make that parks equation if you want to and need to the balance.
For some REIT.
Correct.
We had okay.
But since we essentially plugged that to get the balanced, we thought you might want to revisit everything else and then decide if you want to plug that or remember.
Well, so I guess if we slowly kind of go, what is there anything not covered that we said last week we wanted covered?
We are looking, are there any changes to DEM that are going to be made today?
Can I ask a different question? Or can we go to juvenile? I want to see where we ended up on juvenile.
Juvenile, we have the 117 back for the detention shift supervisor and the 109 for the monitoring program.
Yeah.
And we're going to invite Tori, Director of Juvenile, at a future date to come in and present on the pilot program and the data behind it.
Personally, I would like to add at least one of the JCOs, perhaps two in, just because I think that we need them.
Can you keep scrolling so we can just see, let's just get one look at the whole list and then.
The other highlight is the parks, whether to leave in REIT or not is what we have tagged there. These two positions are currently in REIT, so there's no money here.
Well, and the parks season, the 2 weeks plus the additional 2 weeks worth of, that's not 31,000, that's
76 is what
Okay.
I wrote down.
okay.
And we do have parks going to 20 weeks.
But you don't have that in the green. You have that.
Because it's currently in REIT.
Yep, sorry. Yeah. Guys.
We put it back into the green, we'd spend general fund capacity on.
I'm just gonna throw out, I would rather, this is just me speaking, I would rather use the 140 remaining capacity for one of the parks expenditures than on something else. Just getting it out of REIT, saving that REIT capacity, and if that's something we have to do next year, I mean, leave it on the table, but delay having to use REIT for that for next year. That I'm just throwing it out.
You kind of put all of your items on the table at the same time. The other one that you talked about would be the e-discovery at 100,000. The program that helps with the public records request.
I thought that was already it.
Yes, that's in there, correct.
It is.
Yes.
It is in there.
It's in there, it's
So
penciled.
it's penciled in. So if we're putting that in the ink, then
Yeah, I think.
That was there.
and then we have the 20,000.
So does that drop it down to 40?
No, it's already penciled in. so
Okay,
we're
good, okay, good.
We
okay.
do have from the Vanessa Behan conversation this morning at the very bottom, we added a $20,000 children's waiting room item for final decision based on that discussion.
So I have to say, I mean, I think I'm with Chris on the juvenile, because I mean, I really feel like, I went out talking about juvenile detention funds. I was one of those people, and I feel like we got a fund us. One, both of them, I texted Tori after that. Two are pretty essential for what they do. So, and we went out, we got the money for it. We talked about it as all juvenile, but it went to the rest of the jail, which we knew it did. But when we were out there talking about it, we were talking about juvenile detention. And so I just feel I don't want to feel like I was deceiving the citizens on that.
You have a third on that one? Through that hand? So we will put in 2 juveniles. That's gonna be 165,000, give or take.
Now we're in the red 20.
Now we're probably.
Negative 24,631.
That's with the 99 in.
Do that at
Additional tax
99.
revenue, right?
Yes, the 99,000 was added in the revenue at the top.
So that take.
And
I don't have that in my sheet.
They just.
Yeah, we just added it. Data sets.
Word from the state Friday.
Okay, got it.
that was, and we have the revenue side of detention services in there, right?
Yep, we're whole on that.
This is nothing helping DEM.
Well,
At this point, we have nothing additional for DEM. I don't know if that's something you want to wait for more information and work do amendments in the future. If you want to plug something in and, or, or nothing.
I have a couple ideas. I'll just throw out some ideas. I would plug the 20,000 in the children's waiting room. I think we got a good presentation from Vanessa Behan this morning. We know we have up to 2 million capacity in REIT to support the park's operations. I think we could move a bit from there to cover this. And then one suggestion would be to do almost like a one-time out of fund balance, like 90,000 or 100,000 for DEM. It's just my idea, with the idea that it'll get them at least through part of the year on that additional staff member, and it'll be up to the sheriff and others to go approach the surrounding jurisdictions to see if there's additional resources. So that would give some time for that person to remain on while we look at other funding options. But I kind of view that as like it's a temporary solution, so it could come out of fund balance. It doesn't come out of operating revenues. So there's a few ideas.
Even though we're in the hole right now, they're one of the same.
Yeah. Well, not if we move REIT over to
True
cover what
that.
we're talking about here.
You could have to take care.
Huh, so you're saying just a one-time because we're not sure if we'll be able to, it may not be a recurring cost.
It may not be if we don't have revenue forthcoming from the other jurisdictions.
So maybe plug in what our share, was it like 93,000?
93 based on the map saw.
Oh, but not plug it in with general.
Correct.
That's one option, okay. Well, what about the same for? That's an interesting idea. I hadn't thought about with children's waiting room too. They're not asking for a recurring 20,000. So that could be
It was 10 in the fall.
right. But I'm just saying, when you plug something in, it's like a recurring, not always, but a recurring cost of that amount.
We'll keep track of that for you because we have to balance next year's budget too.
Right,
I think that's important. to keep
No,
in
but that's
mind.
true. That's
I
true.
mean, anything, when we're talking
It's got to
fund
be
balance
reduced
or
next
anything
year.
like that, you
Gotta
gotta
be
remember,
reduced.
all that does is keep status quo, and it means that that number next year stays higher than it potentially needs to. We can eat into it this year, or we can save all that work for next year and have more hard decisions.
It's true.
So,
Like the 93 becomes, what you're saying is like the DEM 93 next year becomes essentially 101 or
Good.
whatever. Yeah,
good.
with just increase.
Everybody's got step increases, COLAs, it seems, and that all those compound. Yeah. So we either make some of the tough decisions now or make even more tough decisions next year.
Need a lot of tough.
We have. We want to take some stuff off our plate next year
A
or?
little bit.
or-
So, let's see, where am I at?
We want to remind you, Commissioner, of your own idea on we can tweak the sales tax.
No, I know that because you're, yeah, where we're at. I'm just trying to think of the Vanessa Beacon.
I have a question. If we did the 20 for the waiting room and the 100 for the EEM, what would be the sales tax tweak now to not have to dip into general fund?
Oh, 145. It'd be 140.
So 140 plus 20 or 140?
140 total.
So
25 plus 20 plus 892.
Are you asking what the percentage?
What's the percentage change we'd have to do?
Right. From a 2% estimate to a 2.0000.
Yeah, like 2.01 if you're rounding.
Right.
I'm sure Jason is crunching it.
Jason, as he listens.
Yeah, no, he's rolling his eyes.
Jason, can you give us the percentage?
You
please?
said 700 and every 1% of 700.
Correct.
Give or take.
So
So the 0.1% is 70, it'd be 0.2.
So it'd be about 2.2%.
And where are we at right now in sales tax?
Year to date.
We next year we have projected 2%.
Right.
Year to date, we're still at 31. Jason just got preliminary of the October numbers this morning. And at first look, we'll stay at that 3.1. It might shift to tweak one, but it looks like a year. No, that's still year over year. So this year to date, we're higher than the 2% that we increased.
Zero.
We projected 0. And then we
We're making
increased
it
to
hard on ourselves.
2%. And we're coming in about.
Seems like we could.
So I would be willing to do Vanessa Behan, but I mean, I think this is, to me, it's 1 year because they were trying to go after the bar association. I mean, all the stuff that's happening that, everybody wants us to continue to pay for. The bar association rules. I'm gonna say they can figure out how to help. So I'd be willing to do it for 1 year. And not even step down the next year, just knowing it's like, okay, we went to almost nothing. You guys have done a great job, but next year it goes to 0.
So the one positive, I'm not sure you're factoring in is, up at North Point, there will be a Nordstrom's rack. And that will bump up, the sales tax, and strip it out of downtown pretty dramatically.
That's still in the city.
Oh, son of a gun. Well, then I'm out of here.
But everything that is building, everything that's building around.
Well, we get 50% of it.
Get 50% of it.
We get it where it's at now.
Well, I know.
Well, but the nurse's rack is new.
It's retailer.
That's reverse.
Still there.
No, they're not gonna go with that.
Okay. So is there anything else we're trying to solve on?
If we have a 20,000 one time,
I've marked 1 year investment on our sheet, so we'll make sure that gets entered in the system.
And I think they're willing, they know that too. If they can't help sustain it, then they're not gonna be able to give into their reserves more than 1 year.
did I circle back around to what
And I
Commissioner?
think since their board is putting a lot, using some of their reserves, I feel like it.
Commissioner Kearns put on the table whether the parks positions stay in general fund or stay in REIT.
I was just thinking to use up that final 140, it would be a way to shift it out of rate and use that. If the 140 is gone, I'd say just leave it in.
So we'll leave those 2 positions in REIT at this point.
So which 2 positions do we end up with?
The line 6 and 9 that are highlighted in yellow.
Okay.
The park FTE, the tech 2, and then the 4 additional weeks of
76,000,
operations on the ground.
The tech 2 and then the increased service.
Does that need to go from 31 to 76?
Yes, I've got a note over here. to Get it put in.
We
by the
talked about it as
76.
160, we know it's 160 on the REIT side.
Got it.
Although one more, you had mentioned 150 or you good at 160. What you guys actually settled on last time was 150 in REIT. 160.
We gotta look as we try to figure out how we don't have it in the future.
Yeah, for capital. And as we trend into 2026, we share sales tax projection, not projection, but actuals with you month over month. So by month 3 or something, you could look at that and go, we're trending higher. Let's go ahead and pay for these positions out of sales taxes and not be.
Oh, yeah. That's what you were.
You don't get locked in.
Commissioner Durham was saying like we should do like a mid-year check-in and then we can just do budget adjustments.
So our budget,
Yeah.
revenue capacity.
Looking through those, brings back around to, I think it was
DEM.
Commissioner Jordan put on the table, DEM. Where is there support for, essentially paying our share or a portion of what would be our share? To get part of it through the year.
I think that's gonna be an ongoing expense. I don't. Cause I mean, that's gonna be our share no matter what. So
putting in the 93,000.
if it's gonna be an ongoing expense that we have in this budget. We couldn't take it out of fund balance.
Then we just have to take it out plus more the next year.
Well, it only works if the other jurisdictions all agree to pay their share. And to date, I don't know.
We'll know more tomorrow night from the valley.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's only one jurisdiction. I mean, it's big, that they're a big piece of the pie, but it's like a lot of other folks in there.
Every high school are saying, oh, this is a really important function, but no.
Please pay it. Yeah, we got that. They didn't offer up any, there was no check.
Yeah, it was
attached
it
that-
was a rah
John's
rah.
like, yeah, we can pick it up.
So.
I see, that gives us a chance.
So not seeing 3
So if we
votes on
put,
that.
oh, so you're not saying put the 93.
Well, that's what I was asking about. I haven't heard 3 votes on it.
Well, so my question is, if you go to 2.1 or 2.2% of sales tax, what is that? What does that really provide us?
Another 10 is gonna
About
be-
100 or about, 70,000 for every 1 town.
That get us close if we
We bump up to
could
2.0.
see where we ended up.
Yes, we're at 44,631 right now, negative, and then if you added the 93.
That's pretty close.
42. Are we looking at 66 million?
Puts you, yeah, just shy of 140,000.
So that'd be a 2.02 forecast.
2.02 and we're stalled.
2.2, not 02. 02 would be 34.
That's 1,000.
Yeah, right. Off by a decimal place, 2.
Somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
I like that. I love that.
It's off by a decimal point.
I mean, if we're turning at 3 right now,
Yeah, we're doing-
and we thought it was gonna be 0, I mean, that is also one of the things you haven't brought to the commissioners for us to make the decision as to what we wanted for revenue projection.
Well, we talked about,
Yeah.
we talked about it and.
But I mean, it's like now that we know we're really coming in at 3.
We're staying up there at the 3, yeah.
So I'm comfortable at 2.2.
So we put,
Sales tax rate.
we up to 20,000 in. We're at 2.2.
We're gonna come in higher.
And then you wanted to use that for DEM.
Yes, to get there.
Just the 93,000. Is that what you're plugging in? 3 year.
Is that a definite we do, or is that contingent upon the other cities?
I think it's a 1-year deal. It's contingent upon the cities coming.
But if the other cities don't come through, that 90 or 93 doesn't cover that
They'll have to lay
individual.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it gives her, because they're already employed right now.
Breathing room to,
So
maybe.
To give some time to manage towards it, maybe if
We'll know.
somebody quit naturally, it could be an attrition.
Somebody's got to get out there and start whipping votes with
And
those
the
other
other-
city councils.
We've left as far as doing an IT consultant. Last it was left was, we'll fund it in 26 when we get there. Take it from fund balance or another source at that point in time.
And we are, Mike is evaluating with MacArthur, whether or not some additional unobligated dollars could be used for purpose like that. So we'll report back on that.
Be great. I think that's a good, I think they would, hope they would want to support that. We're trying to look at it. How can we, make our
was asking
systems work
Al
better?
about navigators for the PFAS. I'm thinking, he was saying they're coming out of fund balance.
Did we make that? Yeah, I wasn't sure if we had that.
You guys gave a heads up, I thought, to
Fund balance
100,000.
this year's fund.
2025 fund
Oh,
balance.
from fund balance. Okay, not in
So
now.
this
In
year.
operation budget, 25 fund balance.
Sorry. No, I thought
that that's this year's.
Yep.
Adjustment, not
this year's.
that on the list. Yes.
No, we had discussed
So
it.
budget amendment for
I
that.
wasn't sure.
We'll get that in real soon.
We have a group of. We'll have to do some around the bonding, so.
Yeah.
So.
That's a good question. So with the revenue adjustments, is there any leftover?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Garden line, I'm in juvenile court. Find some.
Yeah, but that was like not a hundred.
114, I think, so.
Then are you guys good with the CIP where it was left?
Just looking.
We did go through the CIP list with you. We spent about 600,000 of REIT. Do you want us to go through it again quickly, or is?
Yeah. Council already needs to.
I think that's our budget.
I think that's where we're at. I think send it all out to us. because
Yes, the new
there's changes
spreadsheet.
that can be made until December 1st. So including on December 1st.
Yes, we could get an amendment on the first of the.
This is the draft, this is the final proposed budget that we will make available to the public for that period of time.
We can make changes in January too, for that matter.
Right. Because I think, again, capital, we did this last year when we got to the end and like, oh, capital, we didn't really get to. Because like, again, with the sheriff being able to take some out of their budget, changes capital that we really do.
A lot of this capital was funded now, is in bond.
My balance, the vehicles. Yeah. Sure. Because it's not a refill.
Right, but I thought we had set aside some dollars.
No, I mean, not that's already not identified in the CIP.
Okay. After it's like, we need to look at the CIP. Yeah. I would say in the future, we need to look how the CIP is really lining up. And I know we kind of looked at it, but it's like with the adjustments. I don't know, it gets confusing in amongst because we're talking about it quickly as we're trying to get the rest of this.
Well, we have anything capital related that was on CIP that was general fund is on that matrix. So
Yeah, we always talk about the CIP is kind of the wish list of everything.
yeah,
So, I mean, so that's where I'm always kind of confused when you're.
and we moved anything that was the commissioners can say, yes, we will agree to that. We moved it out. So
It's not off the list,
Yes.
it's just
Funded
moved
next
to
year.
an out here.
I'd like to
So with
see
funding, we
this
could
list.
hope.
Yes, and
the
CIP. Yep.
Before we adjourn, also, I think our vote today on the not increasing taxes, I think we should direct Pat to send out a press release, let folks know what we did. We may actually be the first jurisdiction to take that vote this year. I haven't heard of any of the other jurisdictions taking their 1% votes yet, so I think we should pat ourselves on the back, toot our own horn, and have Pat send out a press release. Are we good with that? You good?
Nasty Facebook posts this year.
What's it? They're not nasty if you vote right. So. We wanna,
Oh, sorry.
I think
are we
it's
good?
We're
Are
good.
we good?
Yes,
Do we have Pat send that out?
Pat can send it out.
Amber, we have your head nod
Yeah,
for a
that's
press
fine.
release? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'd
alright.
like to
Okay,
Let Pat know.
we are,
Get it out.
anything else?
have a
Can we
quote
adjourn?
from the chair or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we are adjourned for today. Thank you all very much.